Hello and welcome to the big gay final of Faithful to the Traitors Series 3.
You had to ruin it, didn't you?
No.
Had to do something at the end.
The big gay final, here we are.
Who's gay in the final?
Leanne.
Okay, fine.
So therefore,
She's flying the
big gay
flag for
final.
us gays. She is one herself.
Well, that's the end of the podcast, thanks.
There you go. Thanks for listening. That's the final.
Leanne
Good night.
Jake won, bye.
Yes. Well, yes, I suppose. If you're listening to this podcast, you know who won.
Yes.
And we predicted it. I think we predicted it
Pretty much
4 episodes ago.
Oh, I can't remember. I thought it was last episode, but...
We said, well, I think if we went as far back as maybe episode 2 or 3, we said that the Conspiracy Bros are probably going to stick together to the final, which they did.
The Conspiracy Bros won.
And about 2 or 3 episodes ago, I remember either you or I or both of us had mentioned that Jake and Leanne are very tight, and that it's more than likely that them two are going to they take themselves to the final. However, the way they got themselves to the final, I genuinely don't think it was through greed. I think it was through absolute fear and like riding it on the edge of their seats, because they were buckets full of shit coming out of them, I'm sure, as they were doing that final fire pit. But what an episode. I mean, it started hot, it burned, and it just went at the end. It was insane. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there was a lot to go through, I feel, to talk about with Charlotte and all sorts, but we are here on the final, so we do have to just go through the last few things.
We're here, we're queer.
Mopping up.
Get on with it. Yes. So, I mean, this feels a bit redundant, but it's not redundant, because obviously we're going to be doing the American Faithful, the Traitors as well. After this episode, tomorrow on Sunday, on the 26th, we will be dropping all 5 episodes of the American Traitors, and they'll be coming out at the same time as the actual episodes on BBC iPlayer. I'm not explaining this very well, but suffice to say, this podcast will continue in the form of the American Traitors after this.
Yes.
So you can get in touch with us.
5 episodes all at once.
5 episodes all at once.
Yes.
So you still can get in touch with us. faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com. You can find us on YouTube if you like watching us in a video podcast form, where you can comment underneath the video as well. Thank you. By the way, thank you so much for your comments. We are reading them. They are great fun to watch. The discussions that happen underneath the videos as well. You can
hear one quickly.
Go on then.
Comment underneath the podcast, and you'll like this. This is from Grace.
Hey, Grace.
A colleague of mine has actually confirmed that she knows of Freddie because they were in the same Labour Party group.
Hooray!
So Tory boy Freddie.
Freddie's a Labour boy.
But when did he join Labour? Because, you know...
Is he a Keir or is he a Corbynite?
Because if he's Keir Starmer, it's still dicey edge.
It's Tory light. So yes, so you can watch us on YouTube. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell if you're watching us. You can also subscribe to us on your favourite podcast apps. If you subscribe, you never miss a future episode, as I say, of the future American series and the new Ireland series, and the Canadian series 3 is coming soon as well. So all they will be on there.
Yes.
You can find us on X at Traitors Podcast, on Instagram at Faithful to the Traitors. If you enjoy the podcast, don't forget to tell us about your friends. You can tell us about your friends if you like. You can also tell your friends about us.
Can you tell that we're recording this live at like nearly 10 o'clock at night?
Well, we've been doing so well up until this point. I mean, last week was a little touch and go because I was tired, but this week
We've done a lot of US Traitors at the same time. So
We've been recording
our
a lot.
minds are very...
This week we've
and it's
recorded
final mind.
8 episodes of this podcast. So if you want to say thank you for your dedication, go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful, where you can buy us a gold bar or a silver bar or a gold coin or whatever currency it is in the version of the Traitors that we're doing at the time. Just like...
Yes, we've got some to go through here, so we're going to do a rapid fire.
Rattle through these, yes.
For the big finale. So Ellie bought us a coffee. Hi, I'm so sad that the UK Series 3 is ending because it means I won't have this podcast to listen to on my morning commute. Morning commute, eh? Wonder how they get there.
Do you ride a bike to work?
Thank you for your in-depth... thank you for your going... I can't read. Thank you for
the
going...
producer Charlie is leaving the room as we speak. Don't worry.
Thank you for going in depth on every episode. Definitely my favourite Traitors podcast. I somehow want a solo win for Alexander. Oh, we'd love that. But since that's not possible, I'm hoping he and Frankie would team up to take down Charlotte, and then they can win together. Give producer Charlie a belly rub for me, and I will see you guys for Celebrity Traitors later in the year.
Oh yes, and we've got Celebrity UK Traitors to come as well. We'll talk about Alexander and that unfortunate
Bless him.
event at the round table very soon. At Sarah Weiler Music, I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong, but hello, Sarah. You have said, I have been a faithful of the Faithful to the Traitors podcast since series 1. Well done, dedication. That's before we were even on video. I've tried Uncloaked, but I always come back to you two. Thank you. No, thank you for buying us a coffee. Thank you very much.
Not me. Right. Katie says, I am ... and have been from episode 1 ... a faithful to the Traitors faithful.
Oh, lovely.
You thought that was the same message then, didn't you?
No.
Oh. Well done on another fantastic series, boys. You really are the best at visualized podcasts. If you were listening to this episode, you may not agree with that, by the
this
way.
is a mess. This is the final. This is the final. This is what you come for, everyone.
It's all the champagne, isn't it?
I know.
Your best visualized podcast.
It's non-alcoholic
out there.
champagne as well. So God knows what's happening to us.
Visualized podcast, of course, is a dig at someone, but I'm not going to say who.
It's a podcast on a certain channel that may broadcast the Traitors. Who knows?
With their millions of viewers.
Yes.
And you are legally blind.
Oh, that's a quote from the New Zealand Series 1.
Go and get that new laptop, or perhaps just give some treats for producer Charlie.
I'll probably get Charlie some treats, I think.
Most of these are for Charlie.
Catherine has also bought us some silver bars. They have said, thanks for another brilliant series of the podcast. Although I'm writing this before episode 12, which is the final, it seems this series has been more plot driven because of the plot twists and turns and turns have given the drama compared to series 2, which was more character driven by the way the players played the game.
Yeah.
Is this something you've noticed in the UK international versions? Funnily enough, I've noticed that in the American series 3, they've done it the other way around. They've become more character based and not plot driven, where the previous two series of the American has been very plot driven. And you can find out all our views on Sunday when 5 episodes of the US series 3 Traitors drops all at once.
I am turned on.
There you go. There's a little hint of what you'll be hearing.
It is.
Next.
Cornish Copper has brought us a coffee. Such a joy to listen to. Thanks for getting me through January. I've just finished New Zealand Series 1 on your recommendation. The soundboard is my absolute favourite. We all love a soundboard, don't we? Roger's here, looking good. And I do ride a bike to work. Right, this is for you.
Yes.
Cornish Chopper, isn't it?
Roger's here, looking good.
Thank you, Cornish Copper, or Chopper, as Ben said twice.
Lovely,
I think he's got something else on his mind.
Roger.
But yes, thank you for letting us know if you ride a bike to work. Obviously, this is the thing. If you ride a bike to work, you must tell us. And what pets do you have? Nather has bought us a silver bar. They have written, my prediction for the final, leaping straight for the win, is Alexander, who doomed Frankie with the coins he did hand her. Getting a share of the pot will be Jake and Leanne. Why not? After sending Charlotte back to, I'm not going to pronounce that name because it's a Welsh place in Wales. And Nather walks to work. So they do not ride a bike to work.
Okay.
We just need to know these things. Do you ride a bike to work? Come on, we're meant to be plowing through these.
Sorry, this is a really long one, and it's formatted really oddly on my screen, so I'm sorry. Hi, Ben, Alex, and producer Charlie.
Who is this? Lily.
Yes, Lily.
Thank you, Lily.
Have been loving your work on the OG Traitors podcast and particularly enjoy your iconic soundboard. Please can you release a special best of soundboard episode? My faves include Roger's here looking good is very popular. Okay.
Roger's here, looking good.
That's from Australia, by the way. That's the Australian series.
Series 1, I think. Now that Queen Mina has gone, I'm rooting for the People's Princess Alexander to win. Everyone wants him to win, don't they?
He was a fan favourite, a big-time fan favourite.
I feel the seer twist might be slightly overpowered this late into the game and would be better mid-series, or if nobody knows who the seer is.
Yes, I mean...
Can't wait for your reactions to the final and also the US episodes.
Yes, we'll be talking about the seer twist, actually, in a bit of detail moment, because I've noticed online a few people actually said they were a bit disappointed by it. It wasn't quite... It. You know, some people said it was too much of an impact, likening it to Wilf when he was revealed in Series 1. Very similar kind of vibe.
Parting gift.
Sophie brought us a silver bar. Thank you, Sophie. I don't know if I'm more sad about the Traitors ending or no more faithful to the Traitors bitching about Joe every morning. I mean, of course. I will be tuning into the US season, and I'm not going to lie, I feel as though the twist is very unfair on Charlotte. See, here's one about the seer. How is she meant to have a strategy if production is going to force her to out herself? Goes against the traitor oath. Anything for that sweet, sweet BAFTA bait. Anyway,
They'll get
lots
it.
of love. Yeah, they will get the BAFTA. You just know it. Please advise on how to access New Zealand Season 2. I have a VPN and I am not a stranger to 10 Play or CTV. CTV is how you can watch the Canadian one.
Yeah, but not New Zealand.
I'll find out why Ben reads his next comment, but cannot find it. Did you know the man is legally blind?
Well, it's because the New Zealand one, they've taken it off their streaming for some reason. So I
didn't know that. So I didn't bother even trying.
So you have to look on websites to download it. That's not my advice, but they're on Reddit.
No, if you get in touch, you can find them on Reddit. Or if you get in touch with us, we might be able to send you the link.
Well, I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Don't try and put me in jail. I've got another series to record, thank you.
Okay, sorry.
I'm just saying they may be on Reddit somewhere.
Come on.
Right, the last one for me.
Yes.
HBully123. Thank you for holding my hand through the whole series. I love your random chats and insightful ideas. I'm going straight on to America Series 3 next.
Fantastic. Out Sunday. That is the 26th. James Russell, thank you for buying us a coffee and writing. Hi guys, just wanted to say hi guys. I love that. Hi guys, just wanted to say it's been great listening to you again each morning after an episode, and thanks for reading out a couple of my questions. I'm sending this before the final, so let's hope it's as epic as the last two UK ones have been. After 2 more series, do you think they should do an all-star series? They certainly should, where they bring back all the best characters from the previous UK series. I think it could be amazing. And no, I do not ride a bike to work. Thank you, James, for confirming that, because I needed to know. And again, if you listen to the US Traitors podcast that we've made for season 3, this is the final plug, I promise. We do actually talk about an idea of maybe an international All-Stars version as well.
Traitors versus the world.
Traitors versus the world. Very RuPaul, very
with all
chic.
the hosts.
Yes.
Right.
Very demure.
We've got the final to talk about finally. So also, we do just want to say thank you to everyone who's bought us coffees through this series. There's
100%.
been more than we thought we was going to do with our commitment to read out every comment, but we've done it. So I'm sorry it took half of the show, but it's fine.
Yes.
But it's nice and it means a lot, so thank you.
It does mean a heck of a lot, so thank you.
So now we're talking about the final.
So Frankie revealed that Charlotte revealed that she is a traitor to Frankie. The reaction for me was everything. I mean, so genuine. You do not get that in scripted drama. You could have the best actor. You could have Judi Dench opening an envelope and it's saying,
Francesca.
I'm a traitor. You could not get the same reaction as Frankie's reaction in that moment. Honest to God, to paraphrase Cheryl Cole, I had goosebumps. I genuinely, when you're ready, that was not.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. When you're ready.
It was really good, but it also kind of showed a really cold, dark side to the traitor Charlotte.
Mad, wasn't it?
But she's not cold and dark. I don't think. I think she's quite nice, and because we saw her as a faithful for so long, so we do know that she's quite a nice, bubbly, friendly person. But it was just obviously she was told you can say so much, but you can't say too much when you're in there. So she was quite clipped with what she said to Francesca, but it was very I don't know. It was it must have been horrible for her, but she didn't really. She just said, "Yeah, I'm a traitor," and then that was it. And then it kind of was a bit awkward. And then she was like, "What are we going to do tomorrow?" And she was like, "Well, I have to keep playing the game." So
Frankie, emotional. That's what it was. That's why it looked so contrasting. And Frankie was so emotional over it. This was her friend. This was someone she trusted in the game, and she now realised that trust was misled. And the fact that Charlotte had to stay strong and not show emotion showed basically Charlotte to be quite cold and quite cutting and quite conniving.
But I don't think she is. I just think I think in a way the producer's well, you can say this, but she could have gone I was a faithful. I was recruited late. I had to. I didn't have a choice to say no. But she didn't say any of that. But I'm guessing the producers are no. You can you say you're a traitor and you can't go in depth. I guess.
Or Charlotte thought to herself, what's the point of explaining myself? Because if I try to explain myself...
Well, they were best friends, weren't they?
Yeah,
so it's really
but maybe she
tricky.
just thought that the best way is just to cut the ties and just get on with playing the gameplay. Because Frankie also kind of almost like a plea to say, hoping in her own mind that Charlotte was going to say, no, of course I wouldn't do that. Frankie literally just looked up and said, you're going to say I'm a traitor tomorrow, aren't you? And Charlotte just looked at her and went, yeah.
We'll see, yeah. We'll see.
But she's good at said yes, didn't she?
I know. It was really
cold.
good TV, and it was the best
Excellent.
outcome, but it was really it's just horrible to watch. But then also for Charlotte's gameplay, pretty much impossible.
Weirdly, you saying it was horrible to watch. I loved it. I felt like it was
but in a sick way.
Yeah, as if I was not like a psychotherapist or like someone who kind of read people's emotions and like it's teaching material. The way that Frankie found out that Charlotte was a traitor, genuinely, I think could be taught in universities of human emotion. It was just stunning, honestly, absolutely stunning. I will not gush about TV shows very often, and I know with a podcast about the Traitors, so of course we're going to be a bit like, then the Traitors is really good, but genuinely,
when it's rubbish, we say it's rubbish.
We do say it's rubbish. We call out the Traitors for being bad. We call out characters in the show or players in the show, but genuinely, it was just stunning that moment. That it was shot perfectly. It was edited well. It was just fantastic. Moment of the year.
To burn the evidence.
Yes, you have to burn the envelope.
Yeah, Charlotte was like, well, there's no proof of this, so I'm just going to have to play the game. And then breakfast was just as awkward because they both had to come in together.
Yes.
And Charlotte was the one who spoke first and was like, well, I said to her, I'm faithful, didn't I? And it was just like, the whole thing was just horrible and awkward. But I do feel it maybe slightly ruined Charlotte's last day of filming. I think the whole
she tainted the experience. Maybe
she was kind of on like a low, and like the challenge she was on her own, and they paired up. Do you know what I mean? So I do think it was, and that's why she was crying. I think she was genuinely.
I think the emotion was genuine.
Yeah, this is tough, but I have to do it. But she did it in a really harsh and cold way.
Yes.
So she didn't like half-ass it, even though she felt guilty, which was. I don't know. Do I applaud her for that, or do I just think that's? I don't know. It's weird. It's a weird thing.
It's almost
really weird.
It just reminded me of like when you're kind of like told you're not allowed to be friends with someone. Like when you're a kid and you're told that by your mum you're not allowed to be friends with that person anymore because they're like not good influence, and so you have to almost actively be horrible to that person. Yeah, and I think that's what that really affected Frankie. You said that Charlotte was the first one to come in and talk at the breakfast table, but Charlotte wasn't the first one to react at the breakfast table because Frankie's eyes said it all.
And she whispered into Jake's ear and Leanne, traitor.
Yeah.
Watch her face and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was hard because Charlotte was really emotional, genuinely emotional, but the things that she was saying, why she was emotional, were not true. But it was playing with all of them. And, it
unraveled Charlotte.
Yeah,
let's
mainly
be fair.
Leanne. She was trying to. I think Charlotte saw Leanne as her only sort of grasp, so she got her and said, Frankie's a traitor. I think it's with Alexander. Alexander was listening, then he decided to walk in, which maybe was his downfall in the end.
That wasn't his downfall. The round table was Alexander's
talking
downfall.
about that moment. He was listening outside but didn't hear what they whispered and said they were whispering and
vicious whispers. And the problem is he accused Charlotte of having a vicious side to her whispers, but then when questioned or asked what he heard Charlotte say, he was like, I didn't hear anything. It was like, well, how can you say then that what Charlotte was saying was vicious? Oh, it was just inclined. It was just, it was the tone. I just kind of noticed there was kind of like a tone to it. Was Alexander didn't help himself, but this was all at the round table where he properly unraveled. But Leanne really was the linchpin in this game. Let's be honest. Frankie was trying to get her on side. Charlotte was trying to get her on side. Jake was trying to get her on side. Leanne and Alexander had pretty much made their mind up about each other. There was no way.
A love-hate thing. They loved each other but hated each other.
Funnily enough, I do think that when I was watching it, and I did think to myself that actually I think Leanne was quite fond of Alexander.
He jumps into bushes when you play badminton with her. So.
Quite. He was jumping for a shuttlecock. But I just think that Leanne couldn't see past the initial reaction she had. Her first impression of Alexander never kind of dissipated. So unfortunately for Alexander, and I think that just kind of brought Alex's back. I feel like they were very similar as well, because obviously Leanne was in the army, Alexander was a negotiator. They're kind of very similar fields of work, and so I feel like they were so similar that they clashed. But there was a fondness there between them as well. I think outside the show they're going to be BFFs for life.
I think his word, like choice of words for this series, has had lots of repercussions, because there's a lot of things with Freddie where he said the way people say a certain thing really does seem to affect people this year, and that was his downfall with Leanne and the final vote, unfortunately. Poor old Alex. He had a tough ride, didn't he? From the start, from his
we
train.
said this in last
Automatically,
episode.
he was one of the three who were kind of just on the out all the time.
He was on the outside, always looking in, and as much as he tried to be part of the game, no one really listened to him. No. But he made it to the
Never
final.
Trusted him.
He struggled his way to it, but
and
he made
I've
it
seen
to the
the
final.
most things online about him. Like
people
jokes
love
and memes
Alexander
and tweets and messages from people to us about Alexander. So
if we were
he'll be on the one show.
He will, of
All the
course.
other, what's the morning show that Gethin does?
Morning Live.
He'll be on that. He looks like a Morning Live presenter.
He does look like a Morning Live presenter, to be fair.
He'll be in a polo top in no time.
A turtleneck.
Yeah. From next.
Alexander, if we collected all the kind of messages we got from you guys from email and through the social media and something like that, I would say at least 80% of it was Alexander is great because, and we loved Alexander. We really did. He was a great player.
I mean, Leanne as well really changed like a bit. Like she was quite low down on my list for a few episodes in the beginning half of the series, maybe even in the middle as well, because she was taking things very personally and went very hard and hot-headed to people, which I didn't particularly like. But we do like to kind of blame that on Joe, but that's not fair on Joe.
No,
we need a Joe sandwich. Leanne did her own game, and
after Joe left,
she didn't do it all perfectly well. But I'm not upset that she won. So I have sort of
I'm not upset.
Formed my opinion on her slightly different as it's gone on.
The final 100% loved them all, which is a complete.
My favourites were Francesca and Alexander, though.
Yeah, 100%. I loved Francesca and Alexander too. But if you had asked me at the top, at the beginning of this series, we were really nervous because we thought that there was no one really likable in the Faithful, and we were gunning for the Traitors to win.
Yeah, and Mina.
And we didn't think that really the Faithfuls deserved to win because they were just so unlikable, which is not what the game's meant to be. It's meant to be the traitors. Charlotte you loved to hate her. So Charlotte was a great traitor as well. Mina was just a good game player. But honestly, I warmed to Jake big time. I warmed to Leanne big time. Alexander was an instant win.
He was already warm.
Yeah, exactly. He was warm. Charlotte,
warm and cuddly.
Charlotte was just almost a female Alexander. It's just that she ended up getting the card to be a traitor.
Yeah, I do feel like that last episode slightly tainted her a bit, but I'm not going to hold that against her because of the seer thing. And
no, I mean, I think she had to fight like hell because of Francesca finding out that information about Charlotte.
Did you like the seer thing? Did you like that they brought it in? You said people were upset about it.
When it was first thrown out that there was going to be a twist, and we figured out that it was going to be.
We didn't call it
a lot
seer,
of people.
but
A lot of people figured it out. It was going to be a seer. It was going to be a seer. I was a bit excited about it. I was like, oh yeah, this could be interesting. Honestly, I think because she chose the one traitor that was left, it made it a bit tricky because obviously then, as you said, that kind of tainted Charlotte's game. Like her whole game had been to this point pretty good. The Freddie thrown under the bus was a bit tricky for her.
Yeah, but it didn't really come up massively. Leanne was a bit tied with it, wasn't she?
She was. The only thing was that Freddie voted for her, so there was the suspicion that obviously traitor on traitor.
But then the Faithfuls have such a disadvantage the whole game.
This is where I was heading, yeah.
So I think it's fine. Like this is based off that old game. Like what's it called? Wolf or Werewolf.
Yeah.
So this
whole game is based on
exactly.
Werewolf.
So the seer thing isn't like they've just plucked out the air. I don't want to have too many of them. I don't because there's like a lot of other different characters you can have. I don't want loads of them, but I don't mind this. I think they knew where it was sort of going, and I think it added an injection of excitement for the final. So I think it was worth them doing it this way.
It did feel like, though, and I saw someone say this, that it felt
moment
like
of the year.
It felt like yes, 100%.
January moment of the year.
Well, yeah, but don't forget BAFTA is March to March, isn't it, or something along those lines? Yes, it is. So, but it did remind me a little bit of Wilf and the reveal of Wilf. It felt a little like that. Where
but this was private, so it's a bit better.
Yes, but it was a battle. It was still a battle. Francesca and it was between Wilf and I forget the guy's name, but he was the traitor at the time. Kieran, thank you. Well done.
Oh, that's Kieran. Years ago. Where'd that come from?
Plucked that out from nowhere, didn't you? And Kieran and Wilf, and if you remember, the very final round table was a fight between Wilf and Kieran because they were both traitors and they both wanted to get the other one out because they wanted to be the sole traitor.
Parting gift.
it was the parting gift. So it felt a bit like that again. But on this occasion, Francesca wasn't a traitor, but she had the knowledge of a traitor. Also, interestingly, did you notice that Francesca tried to get more information out of Charlotte later on after the game?
Yeah.
She
Had a little
asked...
chat together.
Yeah,
didn't
and
they?
she asked she asked Charlotte a very leading question about Leanne, asking her, basically saying, "Oh, is she a faithful?" And then there was a bit of a pause, and then she said, "Oh, you're not allowed to tell me, are you?"
No.
And Charlotte was like, "No."
And Francesca was like, "Well, I hope you were a recruiter. You weren't one from the beginning." And she didn't really answer it.
No.
So I do think the producers are like, yeah, as a seer, you can know if she's a traitor, but
you can't answer any follow-up questions
no
to it.
intimate questions.
Because
allowed.
I think you're right. I think that if Charlotte had said to Francesca, like, I wasn't a traitor from the beginning, because she wasn't, then maybe Francesca would have been a bit more lighter and a little bit, kind of less angry. She seemed not angry. This is a proper motherly thing. It's like, I'm not angry, I'm just disappointed. And that's what it felt like with Francesca. She felt disappointed.
That's fair, because like Charlotte had to do it. I know she did, but she did play it really like dirty and mean to Francesca.
Yeah,
so
she did.
It's that's why it was kind of horrible, but also kind of great.
It was almost Charlotte's undoing, actually, because I genuinely, at the round table when the discussion between Charlotte and Francesca was happening, I was watching it, and the whole time I was thinking, this could go either way. This really could go either way. And then when Charlotte said, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it was quite a vicious thing she said to Francesca.
Yeah, it was like out of character. Like, oh
yeah.
Yeah, mask slipped. Yeah,
yes,
that's all.
And I think
she
Jake
almost didn't do a Welsh accent. I think.
Well, I mean,
that would have really
stomped her game.
But also, Francesca had that conversation with Leanne, where she basically was like, "I am a faithful. I want you to win. I understand your struggles.
We're both mothers."
Yeah, she was really going like personal, and Leanne was like, "Well, if you're lying to me, that's really horrible." And she was like, "I'm not a horrible person." So I think that conversation as well helped sway Leanne to vote Charlotte.
Did you? The weird thing that I noticed is that in previous series, when someone, and it's normally in the final or close to the final, when someone's pleading for someone to believe them and to get them on their side, and they have children, they sometimes say, "On my child's life." And Frankie didn't say it. Do you think that's been banned? Do you think that's a barred term now on the show? Because I remember you saying before that that's unfair because that, if you do lie like that, then that's sick. But also at the same time, you're Sharon Watts essentially. Denny had to go down in that ship, I'm afraid, and it was Phil Mitchell's fault.
No, it was Ian's fault.
No, it was Phil Mitchell's.
No, well, all the knights think it was Ian's fault. That's
of course they do, because they've been given information from Phil.
Well, who bashed Cindy?
What?
Well, that's like, we've had a lot of EastEnders references this series, haven't we?
That's because EastEnders is
right
good.
From Nish's death all the way up to Cindy.
Well, I'm dreading it now. Blooming, what's his name is leaving? Clenshaw. Anyway, so yes, so it was an unfortunate end for Charlotte. She did get voted off on the first round table.
Yeah, the last round table.
You're quite right.
But she couldn't say what she was either.
No,
so
that was interesting as well. And
that
Leanne
didn't help Francesca, I feel.
I agree, 100%. Leanne even said, "That's like if we could just know who Charlotte was, this would help us out a lot."
So I think this seer thing, in a weird way, also did mean that Francesca couldn't win.
She just didn't plead her case well enough with Leanne, I don't think. And I think
she did quite a lot to Leanne.
She did plead
because
she knew
Jake.
She knew Leanne. Convince. She knew Leanne was the one person she needed to convince. She knew she couldn't convince Jake.
And Alexander was friends with her anyway.
And also I think she knew that Alexander was out. So she knew that she couldn't convince Jake. So she thought, right, who's going to be left? It's going to be us three: Francesca, Leanne, and Jake. Who's the one I can influence the best? It's going to be Leanne. Not in a manipulative way, but obviously Francesca's thinking about the end game.
Also, they are all faithful, so it's just really like,
yes, mad, isn't it?
They were just double doubting themselves, and I think a lot of them didn't want to be this year's Molly.
No, of course not.
So I think that's
which is what Leanne was turning into.
That's
wasn't
what
it?
I mean. So I think that's why it went down to just two, because they were like, I don't want to be made a fool of with 10 million people watching.
I genuinely,
this show's too popular. I can't handle it.
I know. Yeah. I don't want to be hated on Twitter. This is what I mean. It's like we were predicting that the whole reason Jake and Leanne would make it to the final two and win would be out of greed. I actually retract that 100%. Jake and Leanne went to the final two out of pure panic and fear, because they did, like you said, they did not want to be shown up to be fools. They didn't want to lose the money, so this is what happened. It was just insane.
Be seen as bad game players.
No,
but I wonder, Francesca's red dress, Did that look traitory?
Devilish, wasn't it?
Because we know from whoever it was last series on Canada.
Yes.
The person who won, they had a whole document with certain colours they were wearing, how they were doing their hair and things. And
I forgot about her. She had certain ways to.
I'm sure she did
to dress because she knew that would be appropriate for
Francesca
each situation.
Was in a red glittery vixeny dress. Maybe it was a bit traitory, and that's why Leanne voted her and not Jake in the end.
Maybe. I mean,
subconscious. I mean, we have
a bit
Charlotte.
tin hat, but I'll go with it.
Well, we've got Charlotte with her Welsh accent and her fluffy clothes. Her I'm innocent clothes.
She looked like a CBeebies presenter.
But that was on purpose.
With her dungaree and her flowery
then
jumper.
You saw the real Charlotte at the end when she was in her sexy black outfit.
Yeah.
That's the real Charlotte, see? So her fluffy kindergarten teacher outfit's got her to the final. So maybe these things do have a say.
Well, we must say about Alexander at the round table, actually, because we mentioned it, we touched on it a couple of times, but basically Alexander, if he just stayed quiet at that round table when it was Francesca and Charlotte having that conversation with one another, if he just kept his mouth shut just for 5 minutes, Claudia was even walking around, you could tell that she was about to stop the conversation, then Alexander piped up and he
got his words wrong.
Well, he lied. He looked at Francesca and he said that he completely trusted her. And then Leanne looked up and said, well, that's a strange thing to say because at the end of the round table last night, you told us that you thought that Francesca was a traitor. And he's like, no, I didn't. And then all of a sudden he was like, oh, yeah, no, sorry, yeah, I did.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, God, Alexander, but you had to say it.
Yeah, all he said was there's 1% chance that she could be. But
he said it.
I know, he said it wrong. What he meant was all of us could be traitors because you don't actually know, but it's his way of words got in his way. Alex
has been throughout the series very, very good at the round table. He's able to, he's been confronted and attacked by numerous people. Joe mainly, and he's been able to, Joe's like, it's my opinion, and Alexander's been able to throw that back at him every time. Like it's almost reward winning, like the way he's able to throw back statements and facts from people. He proper tripped on his words this round table, and I think the pressure just got a little bit too much for him. I think that he panicked. I think he knew that it was the end of the road for him, and he thought that maybe if he just showed Francesca one last time, because he has been literally kissing Francesca's feet for the last 2 episodes. He gave her all her coins. He's been gushing and gushing and gushing over her to her face endlessly, and I think he thought that on the round table, if he could just do it one more time, he was safe and he would get to cash in at the end of it.
Jake and Leanne, like we said earlier, they were very pernickety on exact words or conversations. And when they brought him from the lake, I think Jake and Leanne were the ones who were like, well, why are you saying it like that? Tell us the actual story about the card game. And like Leanne was saying that to Charlotte. She said, tell me exactly what
last
you said,
night,
Francesca, tell me exactly what order of things were said. So they were very pernickety on words used in conversations, which they took to heart.
Leanne, actually, I must say, this is something else that I kind of didn't pick up on until tonight's episode. Leanne really did ask the right questions to spot discrepancies in people's retelling of stories. I mean, again, it was a bit unfortunate because when Leanne was asking Alexander and the people playing the card game, they were just getting out of the coffin. It was quite stifling for them to suddenly start having to talk about what had happened the night before. But on this episode, Francesca and Charlotte, really, they had time to think about what their story would be. And so Leanne was kind of trying to find these discrepancies between Charlotte and Francesca. And I think the only one that kind of Leanne again kind of saw as a misgiving was from Charlotte, because Charlotte quoted saying that after this, I'm going to go back to playing the game or something along those lines. And Leanne thought, again, that was a little bit, that's not something Francesca would have said. And it's strange that Charlotte, because she repeatedly said to Charlotte on 1 or 2 occasions, that's exactly what Frankie said. Are you sure that's exactly what Frankie said? And Charlotte was like, yeah, that's exactly what she said. And again, credit where credit's due with Leanne and to Jake on this occasion. They both were very good interrogators towards Charlotte and Francesca, and they spotted the red herrings. It's just a shame that unfortunately Francesca was telling the truth, and they kind of carried that down then to the fire pit.
Which is a shame. I would have preferred, if it was 2 out of those final 3, I would have preferred it to be Leanne and Francesca.
Same.
Only because the traitors had the sisterhood.
Yes.
Even though they weren't traitors, but it would have just been quite a nice wrap to that.
Yeah.
That theme of this series of 2 women winning, but Jake won the vote in the end. Leanne didn't quite trust Francesca, which is which is weird after the conversation they had. I don't know what swayed her to vote her over Jake.
Jake and Leanne have had this friendship from pretty much the beginning, and
bros.
And the friendship between her and Francesca was very new, and it came about the last couple of episodes. I kind of knew that Leanne was always going to head Jake's way, but she didn't. That didn't stop her from panicking like hell when it got to the final two, and they had to reveal their true colours.
Claudia slowly told her who everyone was,
who each person was,
and then when they found out Francesca was faithful, she was like, and Jake was acting odd.
Jake wouldn't look at her.
No,
and she's like, why are you not looking at me?
He wouldn't really answer the questions.
He was like grinning.
Or say anything. It was really odd. So she was
evil,
she was worried that she was about to have made the biggest mistake, but no, they both won. How much did they win in the end?
Well, they shared £94,600, which was around about £47,000 each. £47,000 each.
And the mission was just helicopters.
Sorry, I should have said
they dropped coins in a hole.
Really boring final. That was a New Zealand standard final, which is a good thing in New Zealand.
Amazing.
Yeah, which is great in New Zealand. But yeah,
Australia
really boring.
Series 1 final where they went up and down a waterfall. Do you remember that?
Yeah,
that was terrible. Yeah, it wasn't, but it was what it was. I think this series, it was
more about the round table and the game itself.
So I don't mind that nice little mission just to give Charlotte a nice 5 minutes.
I did like Charlotte's impression of Ross from Friends when she was like going, stand by. It was like
hold
pivot,
fire, hold fire.
Yeah, hold fire. But no, I thought Grace, where'd that come from? I thought Jake and Leanne were very gracious winners as well, I have to say, because both of them said afterwards, it was like, it's a real shame about Francesca and Alexander. You know, if we'd known that knowledge, obviously we wouldn't have eliminated them, but we didn't, so obviously we played the game to the best of our knowledge.
Was just there just for have a nice time in the castle, I think.
I think they're having a lovely time tonight. I bet they're all partying like hard tonight, celebrating the last month of absolute infamy.
Right then, so before we go, have you got a favourite contestant?
Well, I've also
this year?
I will do that. Are you not doing the fact file for the last 5, or are you not going to bother because it's the end? I don't think it's really worth bothering, honestly.
Alex is 38.
There you go, good.
And he's from London.
Lovely. My favourite, well, obviously my favourite contestant goes the one you just mentioned, which is Alexander. Everyone loved Alexander. My favourite traitor, I have to say, and I know people are going to kill me for this because obviously Linda was an absolute adored traitor, but my favourite traitor for me had to be Mina, but I loved Charlotte as well. I really did. And Armani was awful. And there was no point her and Mia coming into the show and being telling everyone they were sisters.
And no one else was related, everyone. We got about 100 emails about, is this person related? No one else was related. But yeah, Mina was my favourite traitor. I think she may have been my favourite contestant. And I think that's why I'm not too bothered that Charlotte got found out at the last minute, because she's the one who started the traitor backstabbing, because this could have been a series of traitors sticking together for the first time
the sisterhood.
We still haven't got it. Maybe next year.
Charlotte,
if you're a traitor and you're on it next year and you're a traitor, you need to, I don't like the word, but form an alliance with a traitor, not backstab each other, and that's how you win as a traitor.
Yeah, but if there's 3 traitors...
Or you can be an attractive white man and try and get someone on your side and
win the women over,
friends. Or the men.
Yes, of course you could be an attractive gay white male.
But I liked Lisa as well, the vicar. Fozia, I feel went too early.
Fozia went too early. She could have been a really interesting character. And
Ellen went too early. I had her tipped as a finalist at the beginning.
Well, I had Linda as a finalist. Remember, I said on our social media that I was going to wear only pants in the final if Linda made it to the final.
Yin needs to come back for All Stars UK around the world.
No, Yin doesn't need to do All Stars. I just think Yin just needs a second chance. I think Yin needs to be able to come back for
They
series
should bring
4.
back the person who goes first the next series, every series.
No,
not every series, but Yin for series 4.
Some of them they leave early for a reason, but
Yin,
I think
that was unfair.
Yin was unfair.
Bring her back and make her a traitor.
But you know who they would bring back for an All Star series? Joe. I guarantee it.
Wouldn't.
Yes, they bloody would. Because they'll edit. Joe will play on the evil thing that everyone thinks he is, and the fact he'll play up on it would make me actually more fuming.
But good series. I feel
Fun
it improved
series.
as it went on. It was a bit dicey to begin with. It was a little bit cold.
Everyone was a bit worried about it at the beginning, weren't they?
But they did a good job again. So.
I think that the pressure of being on the show kind of got to them at the beginning, but they relaxed and got into it by about episode 7, and then by episode 10, I'd say that something happened and it really got pretty decent.
Okay, right.
I asked people on our social media to sum up the final or the whole series of the Traitors in 5 words. And do you know what? They did not disappoint. Do you want to hear a few? 5 words.
Oh, I've only got 4.
Go on, go for it.
The faithful... Oh, no, wait. The faithful act like traitors.
Good. There you go.
Thank
Because
you.
that was an example.
I had to count on my hands there, but it was fine. I
So-
added a word in.
At Traitolytics
Yep.
said, incredible gameplay from Charlotte, hero. Fair.
She did do good until the seer, but that wasn't her fault. So
Absolutely. At Joe Clark 71 said, so sad for Frankie's boys. They're not getting a new Switch 2 this year.
no.
Santa didn't come drop any presents in their sacks this year. Vikesh, sorry, I should say, beg your pardon. Vikesh on X said the twist made it deflating. Felt like it was a more disappointing ending because of that.
Yeah, I get what you mean, just because it ruined Charlotte's last day on set. But you're a traitor, so that's what it is.
You're a traitor. You're dead.
And I think Charlotte kept saying it's a game, nothing's personal.
Yes.
She kept saying that to Francesca, which Francesca cried. So
At _Manu_fan12 said tense but gutted for Alexander.
well, yeah, bless him. He's so sweet.
And to sum it all up, at Katney Clar said all's well that ends well.
Well, yes.
I love that. That's a good
true.
end. That's a good way of ending it all. I
No
think.
fireworks, was there at the end?
I noticed there was no fireworks,
How
although
cheap.
they have posted on their social media a picture of them, the 3 winners together. So that's nice.
3 winners, Claudia.
Is that Claudia? Wait, Claudia's a winner.
Claudia's a winner because
Cla-
she could take Ant and Dec's award for the first time this
I was
year.
going to say Claudia Winkleman is a winner because she's got 2 of the top-rated shows on the BBC. She's probably just rubbing her hands together, thinking of her pay packet.
You see people
Lucky
saying
Dodger.
this is the first year where someone could... Ant and Dec don't win Best Presenter for the
Let's
first time
hope
in
so
30
because it
years.
does me sick every time they
Come on,
flipping win
Claudia,
it.
you can do it. Get voting, everyone. When
They're false
comes out.
modesty as well. It's like, no, we don't take this for granted. We always hope we win it. It's like, oh, piss off, Ant and Dec. I love Ant and Dec. I'm only messing. So there you go.
Right.
So that's it. sorry. I do.
Thoughts on Claudia are...
She is the mother I never had.
Well, there you go. So you can get in touch with us still. We are continuing
Yes.
to do the US Traitors Series 3.
26th of January, so this
Yeah.
Sunday. Binge it, episodes 1 to 5. Binge it on iPlayer, then binge us afterwards.
Yes. So you can get in touch with us still and let us know what your thoughts and theories are, just to put it out there anyway. And if you're watching the US one, you can catch us then. We'll be back for the Traitors Celebrity UK later in the year.
Celebrity Traitors Ireland
And who knows what else? Oh, yeah, the island.
and the Traitors Canada. You keep...
I don't know if that's been commissioned yet.
Well, it's not been commissioned.
Look at New Zealand.
I know, we're disappointed with New Zealand. If anyone is listening to this from New Zealand and have some kind of influence in television, please make a 3rd series of the
And
Traitors New
Australia.
Zealand.
Roger Corser needs a job.
Ooh, that was the franchise killer.
Yeah, but Roger Corser.
Series 2 of the Australian Traitors was it wasn't awful, but it was like it was difficult.
The final made
it was
up
tricky.
for it, didn't it?
Well, it did because the dickhead got done.
Yeah.
There you go. The dickhead got done. 5 words. That's Australia Traitor Series 2.
But who knows? We might be back with other shows. Who knows?
Oh yes, that's what I mean. So if you follow
we need
us,
stuff to fill us out for the whole year, you see, because we only appear like every 3 months a year.
we do.
We're very part-time, so we need to maybe cover different shows. Who knows?
Well-
Let us know what you'd like, what you watch.
What would you like us to cover? Be it reality TV or just TV? Not like something stupid. Like we'd like you to cover BBC Breakfast because that's just ridiculous. Because we're not going to cover that every
I can
morning.
talk about Naga.
Or we can talk about Naga.
I'm not doing Housewives, and I'm not doing Love Island.
We're not doing Love Island. We're not doing
I blocked the word
Housewives.
Love Island on my social media 8 years ago, and I've never seen anything.
In fact, we're not doing any game shows which are dating adjacent. Okay,
even
so,
if Ekin-Su's in it.
especially if Ekin-Su is in it. Much as we love I Kissed a Boy or I Kissed a
So I
Girl.
thought you were going to say as much as we love Ekin-Su.
No. I don't want to do. I hate talking about romance and love
boring.
and stuff. Gosh,
That's why Traitors has murder and
that's it.
betrayal.
Murder and betrayal. We're on board, but
Yeah.
love. No, we don't want anything to do with that. We
So-
hardly love each other. What's going to go on with that? So, give us ideas. Also, talk to us about Traitors and anything else you want to. You know what? Honestly, I'd accept an email about their day.
Okay.
Do you ride a bike to work? Always let us know if you ride a bike to work as well, and if you have any pets at home.
It's quite fascinating.
It is. So faithfultothetraitors@gmail.com is how you can email us. I'm going to have to do it like that. I'm pointing. Not this is
Right.
this thing.
That's Jacob Rees-Mogg.
Piss off. We're not doing that reality show either.
It's cancelled.
Good. Faithful to the Traitors podcast. Search for that on YouTube and you can watch us in video form. You can also then comment underneath the video. You can like, subscribe and ring the bell. Subscribe, then you will never miss any future episodes that we'll be doing for any future things. The same can be said if you listen to us on your favorite podcast apps. Don't forget to subscribe. Share us with your friends on your social media, but also just having a face-to-face conversation. Good old-fashioned chat. Say
I don't
oi.
do face-to-face conversations.
Maybe you do it over Skype. Or you can talk about us on Reddit. If you have X, go to Traitors Podcast. If you have Instagram, you can go to @FaithfulToTheTraitors. We're on both of those. If you like the podcast, also, you can help us by giving us 5 stars on your favourite podcast catcher. And you can go to buymeacoffee.com/faithful, where you can help us by buying Charlie some cat treats.
And if you do buy us a coffee
Yes.
during this final, it will probably be read out on the American
Series
6 onwards. from wherever
Episode
you send
6,
it.
Series 3.
So if you want to hear your comment read out and things for a thank you, then it will be in America.
Yes, you have to listen to episode 6 of the American. You can tell that we've pre-recorded some episodes. And don't forget to add a comment if you give us coffee on Buy Me a Coffee, because we guarantee we will read your comment out if you send us a coffee on Buy Me a Coffee. If I say coffee one more time, I will become coffee.
Do you think this will be true in 2 months'
Alexander
time?
is single.
No.
No.
In fact, I think Alexander is right now getting his pick of the ladies
Ooh.
or men.
At the rap party.
Doesn't matter. Exactly.
He's too busy playing badminton. He's still at the castle.
I was going
He
to
went,
say, yeah.
he went to the Scottish castle by accident instead of London. So Alexander.
I thought you were going to say he's too busy playing backgammon, and I don't know why, but that
Probably.
sounded a bit sexual to me, and
Ooh.
it confused and excited me both at the same time. Anyway, thank you for listening, everyone. Honestly, it's always good
I am
fun.
turned on.
It's always good fun to hear your comments and to know that you guys are enjoying the show as much as we are enjoying talking crap.
So if you're UK only listeners, then we will see you next year.
Yes, which
But
is a
everyone
lot of
else-
you.
but everyone else, we'll see you next week. So until then, try and stay faithful.